I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you say it all from the beginning again? It's the problem with this double-ended dildo thing. You sometimes can't hear exactly what you're saying.
Adam and Dan, unrelated, Jackson's talking.
Happy New Year!
Should old acquaintance be forgot? What does that mean?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. What do you mean? Do we forget old acquaintances? What's the deal?
Should old acquaintances be forgot?
Yeah.
It's just covering all bases, isn't it?
But it sounds to me like it's like, fuck off old friends, let's meet some new ones.
Well, it's how you interpret the lyrics.
Fuck off old friends, let's meet some new ones and we'll eat some pie.
How are you, Adam? It's 2013.
I'm okay. 2013, it finally happened.
Yep.
It finally happened. We didn't think it would. The Mayans, they had their go, they had their say, but it turned out that we will indeed have another year on this earth.
And now we've got an entire year of no luck.
Of letdown, really. Letdown. Because it's like, shit, if the world's not even going to end when it's supposed to, what can you trust, you know?
That's right. Who else has got a calendar that we could not trust?
Seriously. That's right. We need some accurate doomsday calendars going on here.
I found it really interesting, that whole Mayan thing, just because there was such worldwide knowledge of it and discussion of it, and some friends of mine who I don't think they're real conspiracy nuts, not that I know of, but they were kind of freaked out by it, like genuinely,
Were they really?
genuinely freaked out by it, like no shit. And they were asking me, like Mr. Slight Spiritual Interest Man,
Yeah.
What do I think about it? And I was saying, nah, it's not going to end. And as it got closer and closer to the end of the year, when so many sort of conspiracy things were meant to have eventuated, I was just Mr. Cynic. I was like, no, it's not going to end. I'm sorry, it's going to be just as bad as Y2K was, just as disappointing.
The way I see it, and maybe I'm very ignorant about a lot of things, as you well know, but I mean, they've got this prophecy of the world ending. Or do they? They just have a calendar. Maybe they don't have a prophecy. But if they did, shouldn't they have included themselves in it?
Hey?
Well, I mean, by that I mean, like, it could just be the end of the calendar, but I'm not sure. If they did have a prophecy for the end of the world, shouldn't that have included them not being extinctified, 1,000 years before?
Yeah, probably. And I think it probably is a case of us just saying the calendar ended, that means the world's ending because there's no more pages.
Yeah.
They ran out of stone tablets.
That's it. I feel that about a lot of things, like that people think it's conspiracies, like the moon landing. Like, we have to have landed on the moon, right? Because if we had made it up, we would have made it so much more interesting than it ended up being.
What would the fake moon landing have been like?
Well, no, let's look at the real moon landing. My gosh, they landed on the moon. Yeah, it's a big old accomplishment if that happened. And they walked a couple of steps and then they went and they landed on Earth again. That's all fine. And then they repeated it a few times and then we got bored and then they kind of stopped doing that. If it was fake, if Stanley Kubrick made it and if it was fake and all that, they would have had tea with aliens, They would have seen plant life. They would have found so many interesting things. But they went to the moon and basically found nothing and came back. That has to be real because that's so
boring.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just one of Stanley Kubrick's less interesting films.
Like Barry Lyndon and then the moon landing in order of boringness.
Yeah, on Rotten Tomatoes, it got a 40%. So, Adam, how was your New Year?
New Year's a hard one. I don't like New Year's.
Really?
Well, As you well know, I hosted a party, a New Year's party, which you came along to, and it's a big risk. A New Year's party's a big risk. See, the way I see New Year's, right, is New Year's Eve is a big smorgasbord table that contains a whole lot of really average food, and you're only allowed to take one piece of it. Because there's just so much stuff happening around the country on New Year's Eve. You know? Like, it's madness to try and have a party because you're competing with 75 other parties and 150 different nightclub events and 20-odd council-free events. Like, it's too many choices. Yeah, and so, you know, I don't know. I just would prefer to have like a big party on like the day that nobody expects to have a party. Like, I don't know.
Right. Well,
Good Friday? Good Friday party?
Sure.
Over kegger?
Well, how did it turn out? And did you go to any extra lengths to entice people along to your party?
Well, we had a barbecue, so that makes me completely unique, obviously, in Australia. We had a hammock, but I don't think anyone did. You go in the hammock?
No, I thought it was a bit too average, the hammock.
Yeah, it was pretty average. Let's see. We had a frisbee.
Hey, the frisbee was a bonus because it came from the Twister game.
That's right.
It was a thing that you spin the Twister thing, like left hand green, and it was doubled as a frisbee, and that was awesome. I love frisbees.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to feel up my girlfriend when you guys played Twister?
No, unfortunately not, because she was on the other side of another female. So, again, we should actually mention this at the top of the show. Again, we are not recording in the same room. So, yeah, we're doing a what they call a double-ended recording.
Dildo. What?
Where you record at your end, I record natively, at my end. This isn't we're not recording a Skype conversation. We take both our recordings and put them alongside each other and hope they match up. And it should sound like we're both in the same room.
Yeah. Shall we try to do like the same word at the same time like in movies how they have the clapperboard? Do you want to do a sonic clapperboard right now?
We could count to 10 or something.
No. We'll count to 3 and then we'll all say the same word. 1, 2, 3.
Testicles. Brilliant. So my New Year's was interesting at the start because I had said, yes, Adam's having a barbecue. I'm there. Jackson and Jackson barbecue.
United at last.
But I also had two individual friends who didn't know each other, who both sort of didn't necessarily have anything in particular they were committed to, and so they were umming and ahhing about what they were going to do. So I was trying to convince at least one of them to come along, maybe even both, creating a potential awkward triangle.
Yeah.
Which could also be an awesome sex time.
Oh, I see the triple-ended recording.
Yes. So, in the end, just one of them came along. But then there's the whole issue of is the word babysitting? Just looking out to make sure that your friend who's taking a chance on you and your choice of party and potential your guests that could be crazed serial killers or the most lovely people on earth. They were more towards the end of most crazy lovely serial killers.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for that.
So the pressure is potentially on me to make sure
to entertain her.
They have a good night as well.
Yeah.
Taking the risk on me. It turned out great. It really turned out lovely.
Yeah.
I got to meet a friend of yours who really reminded me of Seth Rogen.
Which one was that?
Can I name his name?
Of course you can.
We'll say he's the movie guy.
Oh, Ben. Yeah, he's cool. He does have a bit of Seth Rogen to him, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah. He does. I was going to ask him to do the Seth Rogen laugh, but I thought that might be indulging my own sort of weird little inner monologue a bit too much.
Fair enough.
So tell me, what was your experience? Because you got on the barbecue and you had your two sort of milk crates stacked up on top of each other so you could sit at the barbecue in Aussie comfort.
I didn't have a catchphrased apron on, so I think I let Australia down. I didn't have, fake tits, basically.
I think that's usually up to the partner to provide that, to provide humiliation.
Ah, I see. Well, okay, well then I'm off the hook. I'm not the most blokey bloke. So I got the barbecue a few days ago. I assembled it with no problem, but
brilliant.
Somebody told me that you got to put it on for a little bit before you barbecue to get rid of all the, chemicals and whatnot.
Absolutely.
And then somebody else told me pour some beer on it to clean it. And I thought, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I made the mistake, though, of turning the barbecue on and then waiting until it was like as hot as it could be and then pouring a bottle of beer on it.
Okay, why?
And what it actually did was like all the sugar in the beer kind of caramelized and congealed into this like thick paste that covered the whole barbecue. So that took a bit of cleaning. So that was my first experience with my new barbecue. And then on New Year's Eve, I was doing well with the barbecue. I was doing okay. I was cooking the sausages, cooking your weird vegetarian bullshit cow patty things. And I took up the because it has something called a warming tray, which is like a little grill that's like not attached to the hot plate. So my perfectly cooked sausages I took off the barbecue and put onto the warming tray for a while and just ignored them until I was going to serve somebody. And then I realized that the warming tray is no such thing because the bottom of these sausages are now black and charcoaled because the fire and the heat had like crept up into the warming tray. So I ruined Christmas with my barbecuing, and well, at least you got your chickpea turd sausages, so that's good. But a lot of other people went hungry. It was very sad.
Oh, really?
I went hungry. Everyone else ate wonderfully.
The charcoal is sometimes the best bit.
It's synonymous, isn't it? Like my dad was there and he was looking at the onions because I was neglecting the onions and they started burning, and he was like, yeah, they're the best when they're burning. So that was good. I pleased him, which is nice. But yeah, look, I had some sausages the next day and I had some chicken skewers today, and I haven't died of food poisoning. So I reckon now I'm a master chef.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing a YouTube channel with you and your boob apron.
Well, that'll be my next Christmas present. But do you see what I mean about it being kind of a smorgasbord of average food? Because like you had two friends that both kind of had nowhere to go, and they both had the option to go somewhere and be around people they didn't know in a situation they weren't familiar with, and they're meant to have fun and stay until at least midnight because it's New Year's. You couldn't even go early either. You couldn't even go, this party blows, I've got to go home and have a snooze. I
did say to my friend, let's think up a safety word or something. So if for some reason you're really not enjoying yourself, perhaps there's another guest that's like cracking onto you a lot or showing you the genitals.
Sorry about that, by the way. Sorry about that.
I was able to sort of placate them and just say, oh, crazy Adam, oh, Mr. Ball's out. So we had thought of a safe word that, if it got to that, we could, she says like ping pong or whatever, and off we go.
Was that the safety word?
Oh, no.
What was the safety word?
Something. It was actually hopscotch.
Shit, we were going to play hopscotch. Ah. Yeah. So glad we didn't now.
Yeah.
That was going to be one of our party games.
Right.
No, it was awful though. It wasn't awful. I didn't care, but it was a bit embarrassing because you guys came on time, but on time is terrible because on time is always 2 hours early. So you came and like there was just a couple of my friends there, and we decided to play a game of Rummy Cub, if any of the listeners know what that is. It's like it reminds me a little bit of Mahjong.
Or
you've
Scrabble.
got little tiles with numbers. Or cross between Mahjong and Scrabble. So we were just all sitting around the coffee table playing Rummy Cub on New Year's Eve, and I'm sure your friend must have been wanting to hopscotch it immediately at that point.
I don't know, because you said, hey, take my place, and she sat down and beat your girlfriend and our other friend's
She was
girlfriend.
playing for me. She was awesome.
It was amazing. But I think it's okay, because she once invited me over to a night of board games, so...
All right.
Yeah.
What was your favourite board game to play?
Rummy Cub. No, I didn't go. Because I'm not a big board games person, and again, that was a situation where it was me not knowing anyone else.
I recently tried to teach my girlfriend chess because she never knew how to play.
All right.
And realizing very quickly that it's such an annoying game to teach. Do you know how to play chess?
Yeah, I do.
Imagine trying to teach somebody that's never seen it before how to play it. Not only do you have to go through the objectives of the game, like even teaching somebody what the concept of checkmate is frustrating. But like you've got to go through every piece and say, now this piece can go this way, and that way, but not that way unless this happens, in which case it can go that way. And this piece can only go that way unless it can go this way, but not all the time, then it can go that way, for every piece.
How was her patience during that?
It was actually surprisingly good. And we had a very rudimentary game, and I think that'll probably be the last for a while. But yeah, no, I was very impressed, both with the way she picked it up and with my innate teaching abilities.
The thing is, though, that you don't want to teach them too well so that they start being able to beat you. So if you can give sort of a few falsehoods along with your teachings, that ensures...
Oh, just skip out a few key... points about the game.
Yeah.
It used to be when I was a bad boy going out every I don't know, weeknight, whatever, getting very drunk and going to the clubs. Me and my good friend used to get drunk and play chess before we went out. And it started off being maybe we'd have a couple of drinks and play a quick game and then get out at like 9:30, but it culminated in that kind of being the highlight of the night, like us getting more and more drunk and playing more and more chess and then going out at maybe 1:30 and like, oh shit, everyone's going home.
So did that end up taking over the going out?
Yeah, it did a little bit. Yeah. Not that I'm complaining. It was good.
No. Wherever you find your bliss, Adam,
Exactly, wherever I find my bliss.
And so looking forward to the coming year, 2013, are you searching in new and different ways for different new blisses, or have you got any goals? New Year's resolutions.
Resolutions, yes. I set myself some goals this last year that I didn't do all of, so I was a bit disappointed in that. So I think I'm going to have to do a carryover into this year. So it's nothing particularly life changing, but just stuff for my performances. I want to get this certain thing ready to show and this certain thing ready to show and stuff like that. I realized I've been trying to expand my skill set of things I can do, which is an admirable thing. But then I realized I've been doing it too much. So I'm kind of gathering all these very, very, very rudimentary circus skills, like contact juggling and I bought a unicycle and stilt walking, obviously. But then I'm like, and what else do I want to do? Hat juggling. Yeah, I need a circus hat, and then after that I'll do this, and then I'll do that. So I need to stop that and kind of regroup and just kind of consolidate some of the stuff. So I think that this is going to be my year of consolidating what I'm really interested in and not try to gain as many skills as I did last year. Does that count as a resolution, or is that just like a flow chart?
No, I think that very much counts as some sort of resolution. You want to resolve your goals or something. Exactly.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Well, have you heard anyone say that, if you've got a resolution or a goal, you shouldn't wait till New Year's. Like, you should just do it. And so many people make some resolutions and then sort of they forget about them, or
Yeah.
Or it's also said that if you're starting a diet, don't start it on New Year's. Give it a week, so that you've got a week to eat all the crap that you were probably going to anyway.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But I think my resolution that is sort of overflowing from the end of last year is just to actually write down my goals again.
Wait. So your New Year's resolution is to get some resolutions?
Yes.
Is that like wishing for more wishes?
Probably. At least I didn't have to rub anything for it.
Well, let's hope you're not resolving not to do that, though.
Hey, look, that's the one constant in my life. Rubbing the lamp. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Oh, Toto. Oh, I've got peanut butter if you're interested, buddy.
Oh, Toto's been dead a long time.
I can still pretend and imagine.
Click your ruby slippers.
Yeah.
So have you written down your goals, Daniel?
No, I've got all of 2013 to do it.
Oh, people should get resolutions that they can do in a week. Like they should say
the dishes,
because that's all any resolution ever takes, really, before people forget about it. Like, I'm going to go for a jog every day, and they don't. They do it for a week. So be realistic and say, I'm going to jog 7 days in this year, and then they'll do it every day for a week, and then they're like happy. Then they're happy.
See, your goals, they need to be smart goals, Adam.
And also, like, the enormity of it. Like, it's a resolution. If you're going to say, I'm going to, I don't know, pick a daisy, why not? Every day. That's 365 tasks that you have to set yourself.
Right.
It's too much.
Too much.
We're human.
I set a goal for myself that was at the... I don't know, looking from the start of the year, it was ridiculously easy to achieve. And that was to do 5 live performances in public, like solo performances.
Right. Solo performances,
and,
right.
you know, you got
and did you do it?
365 days to do a lousy 5 solo performances. Like, easy, right?
Yeah.
But in classic sort of homework fashion, doing my homework, I left it to the last minute, and I did do it. And it was just a goal that sort of popped into my head. I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. And so I did achieve that goal. I think that was the year before last. But it was just amazing that there's these 5 moments that I'm looking to complete, and yet with all, like, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, I did a whole heap of other stuff and managed to put off these goals that I guess were important to me. I find that really interesting, that it can take so long to do some things.
But I guess it comes down to, like, they are important to you in a way, but I mean, if they were really important to you, you probably have done them without needing to resolve to do them. So I guess it's more like conquering your fears, maybe.
Yeah.
You resolve to conquer your fears by doing stuff. But here's the thing, you shouldn't put a number to it. People put numbers to things, or they say, I'm going to do this constantly every day. Don't do either of those things. You've got to be vague. Because... is there like a patron saint of New Year or something? Is there like a Father Christmas of New Year? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Johnny New Year, he loves vagary, you know? You don't say, I'm going to go for a jog every day. You're just going to say, I'm going to be in better shape this year than I was last year. And then it could be anything. You could be a tank, or you could just lose half an inch.
See, that goes completely against I don't know if they're psychologists, but there's this fellow here, Paul J. Mayer, and he talks about setting
Body is a wonderland.
SMART goals, which is an acronym. And
sorry, smartphones?
SMART goals. So
SMART goals, right.
So the S stands for specific. So, you know, you want to make them specific. What do I want to accomplish? Specific reasons, a purpose, like who's involved, is there a location required or that kind of thing? And are there any
Right.
constraints? And you want it to be M for measurable. You want to be able to say when you've actually reached your goal. It should be attainable.
Okay.
So perhaps picking 365 daisies over a year, maybe that's not necessarily attainable. Well, it's attainable, but is it relevant? That's the R in SMART.
Relevant.
Is
I
it
see,
relevant? Does it matter?
Does it matter?
Yeah. Does it seem worthwhile? Is it the right time to do it? Are you the right person? And then the T stands for time bound, which sounds like a bit of a cop out, like time
bound.
bound.
What the fuck?
So this is like,
I think that's the most important one for you, Daniel, isn't it? Time bound.
oh yeah,
So
yeah.
instead
When?
of going to Johnny New Year and saying 5 in a year, you need to say to Johnny Month at the end of each month, I've got to do 2 in this month. And then in the next month, you've got to go to Johnny Month and say, I've got to do 2 in this month. And then by the end, you've got 24 shows in the year.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. So I think putting a time limit does definitely help. So
It's the age-old thing, isn't it? It's like when I used to do shows for the Fringe festivals, it was that constant debate of, do you make a show and wait until it's absolutely perfect and then look to put it on? Or do you find the venue, set a date while you're making this show in hopes that that time limit will make you perfect? And I've actually swung both ways many times in my career. And yeah, it's still a very interesting question that I can't quite answer.
well, if we look to the late great Stephen P. Jobs, who founded Apple Computers, now known as Apple
I've heard
Inc.
of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
It's the Beatles guy, right? I played the drums.
Yeah, I think so. And
Yeah.
then voiced Thomas the Tank Engine later on in his career. He says real artists ship. Real artists ship. Like you could be pissing around with
Sorry, what? Sorry, real artists shit. What?
Exactly. On the X. X is a spot, Adam. Aim for it. They produce a product. They get it out the door. In my instance, it was I can practice and try and get as perfect as I want, but at the end of the day, I need to get out there and actually perform. And same with like your rehearsal of a show. Yes, if you were to rehearse it for an entire year, maybe it would end up being more perfect than if you had said 6 months from now we're going to perform it then. But if there's no time constraint, it could be forever, and you may never perform it. And it's just, I think it's important to sort of set a date on it, just so at least there's a sense of urgency, perhaps, or there's a goal in sight. A time that you're aiming for. So for me, at least, that just helps me get off my ass.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So are you carrying on your solo shows into the new year? Are you gonna double it? You're gonna go for 10?
Only my New Year's resolution will tell. Once I've worked out my goals and
But then it'll be like December 31st, and you're like, shit, I'm gonna write some resolutions for this year. Buy a Christmas present. No, you've missed that chance as well, haven't you?
well,
Shit.
well, true. I
Go to a New Year's party. There you go.
I should put a
That's
date on
in
it. I should say by 30. I'm going on holidays, but let's say by the start of February, I need to have all my goals sorted. Bam.
You should change SMART goals to SMARP goals with a P at the end, and the P should stand for penalties. Like we should bring back flagellation. And like, if you haven't written your goals by February, you need to whip yourself.
I don't know, because
That's so much better than time bound.
I might start not doing my goals on purpose just to enjoy the flagellation. I don't know about you, but
no, I prefer other people do it to me.
Right. Well, that's my goal
with a double-ended recording mic lead. I don't know.
Well, I reckon if people listening have some New Year's resolutions that they would like to put on our Facebook wall, so that see one there's a couple of theories regarding telling your goals to other people For me, it helps because I feel committed to the goal because I feel more accountable.
Because assholes like me go, hey, where's your fucking solo shows? Jesus Christ.
Exactly. But I read an article once saying about people that share their goals with others, sometimes it works against them because simply by talking about it and sharing the goal, they kind of feel like they've already done something about it, and that feels like some kind of accomplishment anyway.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. What I do know, though, was that I told everybody that I was making a podcast and I was going to make a podcast. I was going to make a podcast. And I was doing that so people would say, holy arsehole, where's your podcast? Which, you know, the shame of that would make me make one. And then, 3 months later, Jackson and Jackson Unrelated hit the stands and people were like, oi arsehole, where's your podcast? I'm like, it's here! And people were like, where? And then I had to find it for them on like iTunes and stuff. But yeah.
And you're like, yeah, you got to go here and you got to find it. And they're like, I can't be bothered.
Most of them don't even have podcast apps, and it's really complex. I don't understand it, but yeah, arsehole, yeah. Don't talk to me with your podcast lips.
But I think it really just comes down to your personality, because some people, you know, they would have their friends say, where's your podcast, arsehole? And they'll be like, nah, change my mind. And that's it.
Yeah, I don't like being that guy.
Exactly. So,
I don't like being that guy.
So choose what works for you, listeners, dear listeners. So,
speaking of hypocrisy, you had drinks last night. Grah!
What are you talking about? What kind of drinks?
You were drinking alcohol.
Well, I wanted to taste the alcohol that I brought along.
You broke your promise of never drinking anything but water and never eating chickpea turds and cow patty tofu things.
My drinking of some of that wine, which I didn't really care for anyway, it just tasted a bit weird.
Depriving other people of good wine.
It's like if I had made a promise, it's like people that go on diets. What you should, I think, probably be, it'd be more worth aiming to just change sort of your lifestyle rather than going on a diet, which is the exception to the normal for yourself. You should be, you should be aiming to just make it what you do rather than something that you're like, oh, yeah, diet. I'm doing this. I'm doing it for myself, but it's a diet.
I completely agree. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is that every little bit helps. And it's a bit silly to say, but it actually does make sense. Like, just switching from, say, you know, still go to KFC and you know, have a bucket of chicken if you want, and then get a Diet Coke instead of a normal Coke. And don't think, oh, why do I bother with that? Because I'm already eating the bucket of chicken. You are eating the bucket of chicken. You're still a fat ass, but you're not having 300 more calories on top of that bucket of chicken by having the Diet Coke instead of the normal Coke. So we can't scoff at that. That's at least a start.
I think even more important than that perhaps is just admitting what you're doing and owning it, I guess, and not feeling guilty about it. Like own your decisions you make, and don't sort of own it to the point where you're like, oh, well, I want to do this, and it's kind of my excuse now, and I'm, you know, this is who I am, and, you know, it's just what I do.
Yeah.
But
we're getting very close to the cognitive dissonance episode that's going to come soon, I think.
We are. Maybe that's our goal for 2013, Adam.
Is to make a cognitive dissonance podcast episode.
It is. But for
Taste
now,
of things to come, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed. For now, I think we should just hand it over to the listeners. Write your goal if you want to sort of put it out on a public forum. Write your goal on the Jackson Unrelated Facebook page, and
maybe we can help to make it a reality too, Daniel. What do you think?
I would love to help some of our listeners, Adam. I would really love that.
Yeah. Because it'd be nice.
We have friends in powerful places.
Yeah, we do, don't we? Woo-hoo. Who do you have? I've got no one.
I've seen Bill Gates on the internet.
There you go. You've seen.
I follow him on Twitter.
You mean anytime you get a Windows error, yeah, it's him laughing at you.
Oh, I feel closer to you each time this happens.
Anytime the blue screen of death comes, they should just replace it with his face laughing at you. I mean,
they may as well. It's pretty much the equivalent. So, a happy new year to all our listeners, and a happy new year to you, Adam.
Don't forget your old acquaintances, and find out what a lang syne is as well.
Yeah, and
happy new year, Daniel.
Let me know if old lang syne is hot or not.
Oh, yeah.
Or single.
Imagine. Well, old though, but maybe rich. You never know. Could be a sugar mama.
Happy New Year!
All right.
Get the party poppers out.
Getting old acquaintance for that. Yeah, you can sound effects those in, can't you? And fireworks too, right?
Oh, you're making more work for me. Sure.
I am. Yeah.
What else do we say but goodbye?
Goodbye, everyone. Have some pie and good resolutions on our website, Facebook page, Jackson and Jackson Unrelated.
Woo. Yeah.
2013, suck my dick, Mayans. Woo!